Really good. How are you doing there, Mara? It's good to have you
I
back,
am
by the way,
doing
like the second week.
doing great. Thank you. Glad to be here.
You're doing great. That's good. Yeah, I feel so,
Yeah.
what's the word, inspired and alive at the moment, which is really nice, isn't it? I don't feel like I'm kidding myself, because some people say that and they're like, yeah, I'm in bliss. And it's like, no, they're not actually. They're just pretending that they are, because it sounds cool.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta fake it till you make it, but
True.
it's best to hold that thought that you are, but also you have to work within yourself to resolve whatever is keeping you from actually being that.
Yeah, and I saw that you'd posted about that. I've been sort of following your Facebook thing, and you've been posting about that because obviously I understand about trauma and the need to purge these things. But what do you feel about all that?
Yes, I am. I have my higher self or divine source will, whenever I get out of alignment or have things that need to be cleared, purged, released, or whatever, it will be so intense
Mm,
that I can't push it away. I can't
yeah.
bypass it, as they call it in the spiritual community. I can't. I will be, I will be forced to sit with it and learn from it, process it as it comes. There's no waiting. There's no, like we used to be like, oh, I'll deal with this later. There's no later anymore. It's like now, you do it now, because I can't move forward and I can't do anything else until I do the inner work. So
Well,
it's
when you get to that
interesting.
level, it's like a gift, isn't it? Because if you can get to the level where you're not resisting what you're feeling and
Yes.
allow that movement, because I think our energy body is supposed to be like this beautiful flow of energy which is always moving. We're always able to express how we feel, and it doesn't have to be a big thing, it's just what it is. And I think that's how it was in Lemuria, and your name, you call
Mhm.
yourself Mara Lemurian. So
Yes.
and I really feel that, and it's a beautiful place to be in, where you feel like your life force is flowing, which is why I called this radio thing and the blog Radiant Vitality. It's all about,
Yes,
but radiance is just such a nice word to describe what it is to
it
feel
is.
the spirit and allow it to move through you. I'm watching you chomp on these oranges here, and
I
it's exactly
am
what
like
I did just a
addicted.
minute ago.
I'm addicted to oranges these days. Like I've About a month ago, I guess it was right when the coronavirus thing kind of started scaring everyone. Um, I started eating. I probably eat at least 15 or 20 oranges a day since
Good.
then, for like a month straight. Now I do eat other stuff, but the oranges are just tasting so amazing right now. So my body really wants it. So I'm just like packing them in.
I feel the same, and maybe this is a sign, with all the corona going on and everything. I don't really use that word or think about it, and that's not out of fear. It's just that I
Right.
don't feel like it's really relevant, to even think about this virus in general, because I'm trying to focus on being well, and
Yeah.
when you think about oranges, you just feel like, ooh, positive when you think about this life
Yeah.
affirming stuff.
Yes, they really detox your body so intensely. So citrus in general, but oranges seems to be, a lot of other people I've noticed on Facebook are eating a lot of oranges as well. So looking out into the Facebook collective is kind of how I see where everybody's at. You know what I mean? Like you can get a broad
Mm-hmm.
feel for what's going on in the higher conscious communities. And I notice a lot of people are like, I've been eating oranges all day, every day. And I'm like, so am I. So it's a collective orange eating frenzy, which is very interesting.
No, it's good, and it's
But
go on, yeah.
yes, definitely. It's awesome. I live in Florida, and it's our state fruit is the orange. So there's lots of orange groves that grow here. A lot of
Mm.
citrus grows here because of it being so tropical. So
Oh yeah.
I'm in the right place. I'm in the right place for fresh oranges.
Yeah, it's my kind of world. It's interesting because I walk through our land here. I keep pulling this headphone out of my ear because I've got this little headphone listening to what I'm saying, but it's like repeating my own voice in my ear. It's a little issue that we've got to fix on this. But yeah, so I've been walking around and I go through the forest, and I get this sudden sense of being somewhere tropical, or and it's very interesting. It's almost like my spirit is more in the place where I'm at, and I feel the life and the plants all around me, and then I know inside me that someday I'm going to be living more, in that sort of environment, because it's what my soul is calling for. It's saying, live where the plants are abundant.
Yes, like the nature's always calling me, and living somewhere where fruit is abundant on the trees, where you can just pick it and eat it, is like a vision I keep seeing. Even though I live in Florida, and that is kind of going on, in certain areas, but there's going to be a day, I do believe, in the future where everyone will have more access to fresh food that they've grown themselves, or in communities that grow them.
Well, I think that's the thing, and this is why the message really strongly for those of us who are sensitive. Be sat on the earth, or you can be out there in the forest, and you suddenly realise, the earth is saying to us, it's time to, take our power back from the corporations and those systems, and try and be more self-sufficient.
Yeah.
And it's also needed because we need to be able to ground more again, especially with the technology. I mean, I don't mind using it, doing this, radio show and podcast, but in general, I'm trying to limit my time on it. And when you've got your hands in the soil, when you're being very with the earth, for those of us that have a real soul calling here, and I really want to be alive, to feel alive.
Yeah.
It's so important to be back with nature, isn't it? It's almost like a deep yearning in me at times. I'm like, God. And I can remember all my life just being like, computers, games, and all this stuff. And now it's like music and nature, and bring that depth through into the music.
Yes, definitely. I have lots of visions of what the world either used to look like or is going to look like, when things are a lot more pristine, and we've gone back to nature in all ways. I hold that vision. It comes to me. I don't even really have to try to, create the vision. I just keep being shown it.
Yes.
To go back to our natural ways of being, and small communities working together, light communities, like-minded people in the light communities, working together to create these permaculture places and simpler living. It's a lot simpler and a lot slower, but it's so much more. It keeps us in a more connected state, to our soul, to ourself, to live like that simply, where there's not as much to worry about. So you're concerned with your food, your music, your whatever makes your soul happy, whatever brings that light through for you. Yeah, and that's the way I think we're meant to live, kind of like in smaller, even like the indigenous people they live in tribes, and there might be hundreds and hundreds of them in certain areas. Just big tribes. It's not just like like 20 families. There's like hundreds and hundreds of them, but they still live in their tribal communities where they're all still doing their sacred ways of staying connected to the earth and passing on that knowledge to their children as they come up, and to foreigners that want to come and learn from them.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's like, you're taught things down the generations, but I almost feel like there's a depth, there's an energy, there's the spirit sort of energy which has the understanding, comes down the generations. And when you're loved, and when you feel loved as a child, and even if you experience trauma, it's not always the issue that you experience trauma, but it's how it's dealt with. And I know people go through difficult things, but if you've got the tribe there that someone understands, and then the soul parts can come back, and if you've got a generation, and a few generations of people who have either healed or been more, protected from the dark traumas. I mean, I don't know what that's like, because I'm literally living in a crazy, Western world at the moment where I'm looking at people with generations of trauma, which I think has sort of weakened the generational line. Yet what's so funny is that, the beauty of the soul is shining through pretty much everybody. I think just the more aware you get, the more you see it, which is lovely.
Yeah.
But yeah, and just with this food thing, I just feel so I feel very alive, and there's less stress. I think that we're stressing our system. The like I said, with the traumas, it's like the pain has been so big for humanity. We've just wanted to numb out, and I do understand that, but I feel my most happy when I don't, and it's like, let's pick up the guitar instead, or I got myself out for a run earlier, actually. I thought, let's get moving, because a lot of it I think is to do with the spine as well, like I've been moving the spine and that, and really sensing that also pushes off sort of astral parasites, and that being more physical, not being stuck in one place, having fresh air. It's about bringing life in,
Yeah, definitely. I can share my experience from this past week or so about falling off the raw wagon, I call it. I fell off the wagon. And so I was feeling so on top of the world, just like flying. So I have a group of people that I work with here locally that we're like a template group where we get together often and assist each other in spiritual ways and stuff like that, and have conscious conversations and things. Mm-hmm. And they always bring food. I'm not blaming them, by the way, before I get started, but so I'm surrounded by people who aren't in the raw lifestyle, mostly. So I was feeling so good. I was like, I'll just eat some cooked food while we're having this gathering, because that's mostly what there is besides what I bring. So many days, probably about 5 days in a row, I still was eating my 20 oranges a day, but I also ate cooked food every day for like 5 or 6 days. And the next thing I know, my life force plummets. I have none anymore. Even all the oranges didn't even help.
Yeah, interesting.
Like I literally couldn't get out of bed. I stayed in bed because my life force. When your life force is depleted, I could blame it on other things. But over the years, I've learned that when my life force isn't as high as it should be or could be, that I have no physical energy whatsoever. So then with that drop comes a lower mood. Like you drop you can drop back in, like when you're in the highest vibration and you have lots of life force, all the traumas, all of those worries of the world are gone. They don't even, it's like they all just immediately got cleared and everything's perfect. But then as soon as something happens, whether it's something, like I did by eating food, or something external happens to drain your life force, or someone drains your life force, or an entity drains your life force, then you drop down, and then all those traumas are there again, and you're like, wait a minute, they were all gone. Now they're back. And it's not that divine source is asking you to go back there and start working on them again. The key to working on them is to raise your vibration back up, to increase your life force again, and then that love that's in all the cells in your body, just make it go away, so they're all of a sudden healed again as soon as you raise your vibration back up. So I was going through that this week, and I'm sure that this was a lesson and a blessing, as always.
Yeah.
That I experienced that drop, so I could be reminded how to guide others whenever they get dropped like that, their life force drops, because it's easy to drop it, and it's harder to get it back than it was to drop it, because it took like 5 or 6 days for the drop to happen, to where I was totally non-functional. And so then I asked myself, with my guides, what's happening. And even though I knew that I had eaten all that cooked food, I was like, surely it couldn't have happened that fast. I'm like trying to blame it on something else, but my guides weren't having it. So I asked for guidance on exactly what was going on. Is this just the food thing? Is this something external happening? And all of those things kind of happening all at one time. But so what happened was I started building the momentum of energy towards my question: how do I fix this? What's going on? How do I get back into alignment? How do I increase my life force rapidly? Because I don't want to be here now. I don't want to be, in that vibration. So as I'm formulating the question and like building momentum in my mind with the question and kind of sending it out, immediately I was listening to an audio book while the question was forming, and I was building the momentum of the question for my higher self. Like literally in the middle of me building the momentum of the question, the audio book says, you have to eat all raw food if you want to stay connected to divine source. Immediately. And I was like, I just had to laugh, because I was like, I already knew that, but I just need, sometimes when you're in a lower, in a not feeling good or whatever, you really need, you need all these confirmations. So I got the confirmation, like loud and clear, like literally the audiobook said that. I wasn't even listening to an audiobook about food or raw fooding or anything like that. The book I was listening to was, maybe you've read it. It's called The Celestian Prophecy.
Brilliant. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's great book, isn't it?
Yeah, that book or that series, I was guided to listen to all of the series, and they go in certain parts of it, they go into the importance of eating a raw food to stay connected to divine source, because of the processed food being poisoned, and it just zaps your energy just like that. Really, so it was amazing that the book taught. It was literally talking to me, because it was on audio, so it literally told me my answer like instantaneously. In 1 second, I got my answer.
It's amazing, isn't it? Well, I think magic is the true, reality. It's which is funny to say, growing up in a world where it's like magic is only in fairy tales. It's not real, but it's like it's the truth of life, and yeah, you start to, I suppose, raise your vibration high enough, and you really are not just seeing that, but you're living it. You're acting on the things which are sent here to guide you. And I had a couple of those moments today, and I thought, yeah, I'm on path, and it's always a sign that you're on path. When these beautiful coincidences are happening, I think.
Yeah, definitely, it was amazing. So since the audiobook told me specifically that it was my non-raw fooding that had caused my drop. Since then, I immediately, of course, the next day, or at that moment, really went right back onto the raw food plan. And since then, I've noticed that I'm having, it's a gift, because I'm having new abilities are coming online. I think because I needed to see the message of how important the raw food was, even though I talk about it all the time and tell people all the time.
Me too.
Sometimes I'm not perfect either, and I will eat some cooked food. But so the book was stressing the importance of making that connection my number one priority, and
brilliant.
Also allowing me to share that with others. And it's really something you got to experience yourself, because you can't really know until you've had both happen. So you've been in the really high vibration, and then you've dropped out, and then you're like, oh, okay, now I know the I know the difference in vibration. But as soon as I started eating the raw food again, I noticed I had the ability, and I've only got to use it on one person, but I started being able to see into people in my soul group specifically. I don't know about everyone, but I was able to see into their past lives and give them
Yeah.
answers and confirmation about things that past life is relevant to their relationships now. Like, say,
Mm.
I have a soul sister that was in a relationship that turned toxic, and she even after it was over, she still kept holding the vision that this person that she had been with would all of a sudden get it, wake up and start, being kind and loving in retrospect, even though relationship was over. And so she couldn't figure out why she was so determined to keep going back and connecting with this person, even though it was over, to just see if they're in a higher vibration yet. And so I all of a sudden got this vision that explained to her about her past life experience with this person, who he was, and he was the same person. He was the same energy in the past life that he is in this one. He hasn't woken up. He wasn't awake then, and he's
Mm.
not awake now. But she was always awakened, and so it helped her be able to see the dynamics of the relationship from a different perspective, so she could kind of release it and let it go, so she could move on, even if he can't accept, the love and the light. It's not going to keep affecting her. She's done all she can, in other words, to help him wake up. The soul contract's fulfilled, maybe. So it was really interesting
Mm.
that I was able to see that. And so I'm hoping that the gift, I'll be able to use it more to help to help anyone in the situation where something like that information could release them from a soul contract that they're in this life, so it can be released and they can move forward, or however it works. So it's
That's,
a really
mm.
interesting gift that I acquired by listening to my guidance to go back to All Raw.
Yeah, I'm with you on that as well. The more clearer I eat, the more lucid I am, and the more I can sense other people. It's like the barriers are lifted to those sort of extra senses. And yet I'm still grounded, so it's really, really nice. And I'm similar to you in that I sense things with people and read into the soul, and it's really, I like doing it. It feels really, really nice, and it's a thing that's developing with me also. So it'd be
Yeah,
interesting to
beautiful,
see
beautiful.
how these things develop, wouldn't it?
Yes, yes. And also some of this stuff that ability was in that Celestial Prophecy series as well. Those people in the book had that when they were on All Raw, they had that gift as well,
Mm.
plus many others. But that was just one of many. Not that we're eating raw to get gifts, but you do get gifts when you do.
Yeah.
It's just the perk of it. So it's awesome. Another thing that was in the Celestial Prophecy, the 12th Insight one, was they taught about creating prayer fields, which is an intention prayer field around you that can be sent to others.
Brilliant.
So if you, like now the way things are globally is a good time to put this into action. It's where you send your angels, or send angels. They call them the Dakini angels, the luminous ones, whatever you want to call them. Essentially, it's just beings of light. And as an awakened human, we have the natural ability to call them in and send them to certain situations globally or in your own reality. Like if you have
Wow.
a situation with a person that you're going to talk to today, say, that is in a lower state of consciousness, and there's some difficulty communicating with that person in the past. So prior to you engaging with this person today, say, you would take a few moments and you would visualize and call upon the angels, the Dakini, the luminous ones, whatever words you choose to use are all relevant, and send that and envision that person being surrounded in these beings and in the light of those beings to help hold their higher self in place, so that when you go have your interaction with them, you can talk to their higher self, talk to their soul, rather than talking to the human ego or their entities or whatever else. So that was a really special gift that I've really been guided to share with everyone, because anyone can do it. And it just takes a few moments, and you can envision them around yourself to call them to you, obviously, but sending them out to global situations is another thing, like sending them to your leaders, your presidents, your kings and queens, whoever. Send them to anyone who's not in their highest state of consciousness, and keep that. That's your prayer field. So instead of praying like this and asking God to do something for you, you visualize and call the angelics, which are connected to source. So they're the ground crew kind of that are here to help us, and they are a part of us. So it's just up to us to accept and allow that, and send out our prayer of the angels assisting these situations, whether it be our own personal situation or situations with family, friends, leaders, people in stress, any of that. So I found that felt very aligned whenever I tried it for the first time with the actual, like, you can say, I send you love and light. Lots of people say that, but are you, and that is a beautiful intention. But when you really sit down and actually visualize them, the person you're sending it to, with light around them, with the angels around them, or, beings of light, whatever, the visualization is way more stronger than just saying the words. Do all of it.
That's right, yeah. So it's a bit of intention and a bit of energy behind it, and then it's a lot more stronger, and maybe really sitting with how that feels. That's really good. Yeah, I think I might start doing that more, I like, in a way, that we all have something to teach each other, and I'm trying to be open to hear what people are saying lately, also because of the point that it seems to come on time, with something that you need, everything. When I started thinking about this, growing some food, and then everyone's sort of talking to me about it, and I'm going, what the hell? I only just started thinking about this the last couple of days, and everything I see is to do with growing food,
Yeah. So
but yeah,
you're manifesting or attracting all of the information that you need. That's beautiful. You're on the right path when what you think about doing all of a sudden just starts coming to you and happening. You know what I mean? So obviously you know that you're being supported by the universe. So hey, do this. This is important.
Yeah, I was doing about the prayers as well. I was with some sort of psychic attack that I was having, which is quite bad. And I remember praying, and it used to sort of make it 50% better, So that was really good. That made me realize, wow, there's a power behind this intention, sort of thing. Yes,
there definitely is. So I feel it. So now, anytime anybody asks for healing, because I'll see people on Facebook or in person that are like not feeling well, or having an issue, needing healing. So I've committed myself at the nudges from the angelics, or the luminous ones, the light beings, to put them to action. Like, I can put them to action. I have that power to send them to do things. It's not, so I'm really using that as much as I can, and definitely seeing results. But I just have to remember to do it. Sometimes it's hard to remember to do it when you're in the heat of a weird situation with someone. But if you feel it coming on, and if you could just take one breath and like visualize the angels coming and surrounding you, then it really helps. It makes a difference.
Well, I've not mastered the art of non-reaction all the time yet. I sort of forgive myself, but I do, sometimes I'm sort of react a bit, but it's obviously my own pain is being. I think a lot of guys can struggle with it at times. It's, maybe it's because they don't. A lot of people haven't been expressing themselves, and the more you do, the less things get sort of pent up, all the anger and stuff. But generally, I'm not an angry person. It's gone to a point where it's just like, and this is the thing. What you're saying about the raw food, it's like, yes, emotion comes up, but it's not so all pervasive. You don't become it, you just sort of witness
Right.
or allow,
Right.
witnessing and then letting it
Yeah.
go, or allowing it to come up and out, which I think's really beautiful and powerful.
Yeah, it doesn't stick to you, the necessarily unpleasant emotions. You feel them when you're on raw food, but it seems to me like I'm getting kind of like a visual of sort of what's happening. Like maybe it's more metaphorical, but when you
Mm.
have processed or low vibrational food in your body, that's considered density, like it's heavy. So the lower emotions or reactive emotions, let's say, can actually stick to you because of all the density in you, all that heavy food, all that toxins, poisons, chemicals, and junk, basically from certain foods. So
Mm.
it gives the unpleasantness of reactive emotions a place to stick to your cellular structure, so it stays with you longer and it's harder to get rid of. So doing a cleanse, detox, eating raw food, it doesn't stick to that. It's like the raw food kind of transmutes it for you because there's so much light in there.
It is something like that, isn't it? And it's also about things flowing, because you're talking about stagnation in the body. You're also talking about,
Hmm.
I mean, sometimes people obviously eat food to ground, don't they? And like today, that was the thing. It sounds funny, the almonds, like just having one, and I was like, no, too much, just. But it's like my body was saying, no, I don't want to be processing it. I want the break. And I think the more you listen to this, the more, because what I've been seeing is that you've got the body, and then you've got sort of the energy body or whatever that is, and then I don't know, the aura is part of that, whatever, I'm not sure. Um, but like that energy body itself is very connected to the body. It's like there's something in between spirit and the body or whatever, or in between your soul or whatever and the body. And
Yeah.
it's about allowing the conditions within the body system to be at the point which allows your spirit self to interface and really come into the environment, sort of thing. And I feel like the stuff we've been doing to our bodies with what we've been having has been, I think we talked about this last time, about the desensitization. It's been desensitizing our system. And I can understand that in a world where everything's like so noisy and crazy, stressful. But it's like you find out, oh, hang on, it actually feels easier to deal with the stress and that actually being clear and eating clear and not numbing. The energy of stress just comes and goes, which is really, really cool. So like we said again, it's like as if you're not attaching to the feelings.
Yes, exactly. And one thing I've noticed whenever my body isn't wanting the food that I'm trying to give it, like I can feel, um, like as I have the food in front of me and I'm picking it up to start eating it, literally I can feel like my throat tightening a little bit.
Yeah,
Like that's my
it's
body.
interesting.
That's my body saying it doesn't want to swallow it. It's like no, no. Like so, your body's speaking to you. You just have to listen and kind of override that
It's
hunger,
interesting.
or that override the taste of the cooked food, because that's a big thing. It tastes good, um, but people are used to eating it, so you just automatically want to keep feeding. You
Mm.
feeding your taste buds over your body. Basically, you're putting your taste buds and the act of eating whatever you want over your own health, over your own
Mm.
bodies. So you're overriding it if you just keep putting it in there. But your body's talking to you, always going to let you know. But if you're desensitized, like you're saying, it might be harder to pick up on the subtle. I call it the smart body. You have a smart body,
That's
and
good.
it's kind of like an energy field as well. It's called your innate smart body, and it knows. It knows everything it needs, it doesn't need. It knows how to heal itself, and to get that connection with your innate smart body to start talking to you. You can literally um, set time every if you're not connected to it. You can always set a few minutes every day to kind of sit with your body quietly, almost like a meditation, but instead of being quiet, you start talking to your body and
Good idea.
asking your body, your smart body, to start tell it you're listening. Say, I'm listening. I want to do what's right for my body. I want to put the right foods in there. I want to make the right choices to help it heal, help you keep your vibration up, whatever it is, activate your DNA. So you talk and you tell it you're listening, and you want those messages. I want that intuition. I desire it. I'm listening now, and talk to your body and let it know that you're ready to listen now. And so it'll start speaking up louder. It'll start giving you strong indications that this is not good, and it'll also help you make the right food choices. If you keep working with your innate smart body, for some days or weeks or months, ever how long it takes for you to build a strong communication with it again, then you'll eventually be able to listen to it, and it will guide you, and it'll make you, like when you're at the store, it'll make you pick the oranges instead of the potato chips. It'll make you. It'll be like you'll just all of a sudden find yourself starting to be able to make the right choices, because all of a sudden you're like, oh, maybe I should read the ingredients of this package. No, instead of just getting it because it tastes good. So that's another way that I started being able to.
But yeah, I just missed the last sort of like minute of what you're saying. Damn it.
Okay, I can't remember exactly what I was. Okay, I was just talking about the innate smart body and the importance of setting. If you're not already receiving direct messages from your actual body, like intuitive guidance or strong guidance, you can set that intention to talk to your body and to ask it. Say, I'm ready to listen to you now. Please give me the insights and the wisdom to help me make the right choices. And then the more you listen, the first time you start hearing it and you listen to that guidance, then it's going to even give you more. Like it's like, oh, she's listening now. Okay, or he's listening now. So
Yeah,
let's amp this up. So it really works great. It's all about intention. So you intend to listen to your body, you claim it. I intend to listen to my innate smart body and allow it to guide me to eat proper foods and make decisions about what to put in and on my body. And you work with that affirmation or that intention daily for a while until you know for sure you're getting the right messages. It's awesome.
Right. I'm back again on the audio video show. Yeah, I mean, I hear you, and that's my whole thing really. Is of course not just listening to the body, but listening to my wisdom, and it's funny, isn't it? I suppose that's why people go on about meditation all the time, because it's a way to really stop listening to everything else. Whatever that is, we won't debate into, or we could debate into, but it might take another few hours to
right.
but yeah, I'm trying to listen very much to that soul energy, and again, like what we were saying, about when you're eating rubbish and you're not hearing that voice, and then you start not hearing the voice even more of your soul, and you sort of go down a spiral. And I suppose humanity's been in that state for quite a while, not hearing the soul's calling. And I like that word, the soul's calling.
Yeah, I love that. I'm going to adopt that.
Yeah, and I do believe in this sort of divine, what's the word, destiny sort of thing, but not destiny as in everything's pre-planned, but just that, certain experiences you create now sort of lead you to this point where you just feel completely like you're where you need to be and you're doing what you need to do, and you've just suddenly magically managed to work with the now in such a way that you can work with what you've got around you to create the life that you want, and you understand that each step that you make leads forward. And that's the beautiful thing with listening to your body and your system, what you need. You sort of get to a point where you can't go wrong because you've got so in tune.
Right.
That's beautiful, isn't it?
Exactly. It is
Are
beautiful.
you
It's
there?
the way we were. It's the way we were meant to be. That's our natural state of being that we're trying to return to.
Yes.
So yeah, it's all there inside us for us to have everything that we need to rise, rise. Another thing, I don't know if you've heard of it or not, and so I'm going to throw this out there. Um, I work with a lot of plant medicines and stuff. I'm on kind of a shamanic path, among others, not exclusively, but I was kind of called to it. But there is a lot of herbs and medicines that are coming out of the Amazon right now.
Right.
That are being shared with everyone here in the rest of the world, which is it's a really great gift to have access to those plants and animals as well. One thing that has really helped me, and I was a little leery of it at first. It's called kambo frog
Yes.
medicine.
Yeah.
Have you heard of that?
I have. Yeah. Never tried that.
Yes.
But maybe.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah. I have. I was guided to and meet this person who lives in the jungle now. She's from America, but she lives in the Amazon now and has a retreat there. But she was in Florida, and she showed up at one of my events, and she had a bunch of other plant medicines, but she told me, it was the first time I'd heard of the frog medicine, the kambo frog medicine. And at first I was like, I don't think I want to do that to myself, but I felt really called to it. So after a few months, I got the chance to reconnect with this person, and I knew it was divinely guided. I was like, I've got to override my fear, because it's
Brilliant.
a detox. It detoxes your body on every level. It's really amazing. So it's in the Amazon, they use it for their immunity and they use it for a detox. But they burn your skin in like three small dots. The burn is nothing really. And then they put the medicine from the kambo frog secretion, and it's harvested ethically. The frogs are not harmed or killed or anything. That's a very important part of it.
That's good.
The frogs are very sacred and very well taken care of. They're not held in captivity. They're free in the jungle. But they harvest it themselves. A lot of the shamans will harvest it and then can send it to us in America. But so that medicine really changed things for me, because I overrode my fear of it. Listen to my body asking for it. Like this is something that you can really benefit from. So I did it, and it gives you a full body detox, which is a purge from everywhere. It's like a strong purge. It only lasts like 30 minutes, and you purge. But afterwards, the frog, like the spirit of the frog, really communicates with you. It gave me it put me into alignment with that highest vibration that quick, just by doing the frog medicine one time. And it made me so sensitive to anything that wasn't good for me that I couldn't go back and eat some of the more harmful things or use any of the harmful products. Like it gave me that clarity again for that I didn't expect from it. So that's another tool or another medicine that it's really helpful. I highly recommend that anyone that has a chance to experience that particular medicine from the Amazon to really consider it, because it's so powerful. It's really amazing.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And there's so much in the Amazon. There's so many plants, and a lot of our medication, is taken from the Amazon, isn't it? So
yes. So many plants grow there.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it?
Yes, that's just one, and it's not even a plant. It's a frog, but I consider it just as useful as the plant medicines in what it does for the body. I noticed that a lot of people, it's making a big, strong impact on the people in America right now, because a lot of people are getting trained to facilitate that particular healing modality, and it's really powerful, changing people's lives. Like it can heal They use it for cancer treatment in the jungle. Like it's been known to cure breast cancer, different cancers, any really thing that's wrong with your physical body. It helps to heal it. It does. It'll give you 50% of the work, and it's up to you to do the other 50% afterwards to finish the healing process. But it really puts you into alignment with healing anything that's wrong with you. It's really powerful. It's really magical. And there's really science behind it. There's a science behind it. So you could research the chemicals that are in the frog secretions, and they're called peptides, and they really heal the DNA and really work well with the body. So it's really amazing.
That's really good. I see the smile on your face with that. So, hello, dog. Oh,
I have a friend.
Wonderful. Oh, that's a really lovely dog. Oh, bless. Yeah, so there's a science behind those things, but there's also, the energy, the intelligence in the plant, I think, which is there as well, which I think is really quite special, really. I mean, that's the thing I've been becoming aware of, really, is that it's more than just plants. There's more going on there, and intelligence, which once it enters into the system, seems to know what to do to help the body know what to do. Almost as if the body had forgotten what to do in some ways,
Yeah, it's being reminded. The spirit of the plant, the spirit molecule, the spirit of the frog or the plant or the food, it definitely interacts with you. And we definitely have a beautiful symbiotic relationship with the plant kingdom on the earth. Oh, here's another thing I learned recently. You may already know, but it's worth a share, I believe. Someone, and I haven't tested this theory out, but I think that how intention works. So the intention behind it would make it work, whether there's any science to it or not. But when you were saying you were going to plant food soon, like now, you're getting ready to. This is a whole different topic than the frog, but
no, but this is important.
Before I forget, when you have the seeds you're ready to plant, take them and either put them in your mouth for a second so your own saliva gets on there, or either, I know this sounds weird, but spit on them.
Yeah.
And so part of your DNA is mixed with the seed of the plant. So in that process, the intention to set would be for those plants to be able to read your body. What does it need more of? Does it need more vitamin A? Does it need more spirit molecule? Does it need more minerals? Does it need whatever? And so you're forming a connection with that seed before you even plant it. And so it's going to, when the plant grows that you're going to eat the fruit or the vegetable, it's going to already know by the intention that you set to give you more of what your particular body needs, or even the body of humanity, because our bodies probably represent, a lot of humanity with, what we're lacking or needing more of. But specifically, it'll be in tune to you. So that's another beauty of growing your own food, because you can do that process with the seeds before you plant them. And another thing I learned also was when the plants are growing, which this seems simple, but it's worth reminding people the power of what you're doing when you're growing your own food is to, as the plants start coming up and they're growing, to sit with them. And you take care of them, but sit with them intentionally as often as possible, say once a day or something, and sit with them and send them love. Send them love and and admire the beauty of that plant. And you're giving it love, and so when you do that, it's going to grow and flourish way more than the plant next to it. It's going to be way more powerful than one that doesn't get that love.
That's interesting, isn't it? Because you're talking about admiration there, and it's the same with people as well. When you see the truth in someone else, and it brings that truth forward. So in some way, I've realised that we're partially responsible for influencing the way people act around us, because if we put out the energy, that someone's horrible or someone's beautiful or whatever, it sort of brings that forward, which I think is quite magical, really, because that's the same thing. Like we create the reality that we're in based on what we think or feel.
Yeah. So give your plant foods lots of love and admiration. Find their beauty and give it to them, and they'll share it back with you.
Yeah, I think that's a good message to sort of end on. I think we're nearly there now with this. It's been great chatting to you today. We're going to have to do it again, I think.
Yes, you as well. I'm honored.
Yeah, thank you. Bless you. Maybe make a 2-hour version. Me and Mike, sometimes we talk for, about 3 hours. It's ridiculous. Crazy.
Yes, we could.
What's your dog's name, by the way?
Taco.
Cool.
I call him the Ascended Master Taco.
Yeah, he's probably teaching you.
Yeah, he is. Oh.
Well, you can't see that, listeners, but it's a beautiful, beautiful dog. It makes me want to do, video calls rather than just audio, because people can actually see your face. I think there's a place for that.
Yes, definitely.
Oh, well, thank you very much. It's been great.
Thank you.
You take it easy.
Sending love.
Bye for now. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.